If your wandering monsters feel fake, it is probably not because you are rolling wrong. It is because you are running them like they pop into existence the second the die hits the table. A goblin does not just spawn in the hallway because you rolled a 6. It was going somewhere. It came from somewhere. And the minute you start treating wandering monsters that way, that they existed prior, the whole dungeon starts feeling alive instead of gamey. The problem with wandering monsters usually isn't the role, it's the explanation. Because the first time the party asks, how did that goblin get here? Or didn't we already clear this area? You've got a choice to make. You can shrug and lean in on the procedure, or you can make the dungeon feel like a real place. And that matters because wandering monsters are not just there to fill time or punish players for walking around. They are there to make the dungeon active. They are there to make time matter. They are there to remind the party that they are not exploring a frozen museum. The dungeon is alive. The dungeon is occupied. The dungeon is moving. The dungeon reacts. That is the mindset. If wandering monsters feel gamey at your table, it's usually because they're being run like video game spawns. Die gets rolled, a creature appears, initiative happens, and only after that does everybody start wondering whether any of this made sense. So here's the fix. When a wandering encounter comes up, don't think, well, what shows up? Think, what is this thing in motion? And that one question clears up a lot. Maybe it's a patrol. Maybe it heard the party. Maybe it's carrying a message. Maybe it's looking for food. Maybe it's running from something worse. Maybe it's coming to check on a guard post that never reported back. Maybe it's a scavenger following the smell of blood. Maybe it just lives in cracks and crawl spaces the party never mapped. Now the result has weight. Now it belongs. And once you start thinking that way, the whole how did it get past the other room? That question becomes a lot easier to answer. Because not every creature moves through the dungeon the way the players did. Some things use side passages, some things know hidden doors. Some things live in wall spaces, ceiling voids, old drains, collapsed shafts, fungus pits, rubble chokes, servant roots, dumbwaiters, cracks, vents, or even flooded channels. Some things are tolerated by the room occupants because they are allies, vermin, messengers, slaves, scouts, pets, or even part of the same faction. And some things simply weren't there before. That last part matters. A cleared room is often only cleared for now. If the dungeon has active inhabitants, empty space gets, well, you guessed it, reused. A patrol passes through, a pair of goblins drag in supplies. A giant rat noses around for scraps. A skeleton, served by noise, comes up from a crypt passage the party never found. Reinforcements relocate. Refugees run. Predators follow. That is not cheating. That is a place continuing to exist after the players leave the room. Now, the other piece is telegraphing. We've done videos on this. Because even when the logic is solid, wandering monsters still feel cheap if they land with no warning. So, before before contact, give signs. Footsteps, faint torchlight, wet tracks, scraping armor, voices around a corner, smell of dung or smoke, fresh droppings, a distant clatter, a draft carrying sound, a shadow moving across a far wall, or the party's torchlight catching eyes for just a second. You don't need to do this every single time, but you should do it often enough that players feel like encounters emerge from the fiction, not from behind a referee screen. And this is where wandering monsters become, honestly, really useful because they become information. A random goblin with a sack of mushrooms tells you there are food sources deeper in the dungeon. A pair of kobolds with wet feet tells you that there's a water source nearby. Skeletons covered in soot tells you there's a fire or old burning deep inside. Orc scouts moving fast and not talking tells you that something has them nervous. A giant centipede coming through a cracked wall tells the players that the dungeon is more porous than the map suggests. See, now, it's not just a fight, it's a clue. And that helps with placed encounters too. If you've got a room with 6 orcs in it and later the party meets 2 orcs in a corridor, those corridor orcs do not have to break logic. Maybe they are on patrol from that room. Maybe they are returning with water. Maybe they were sent to check the noise. Maybe they are from a nearby barracks and the 6 in the room are from a different group entirely. Maybe the room the party finds later is not exactly as it was at the start because people moved. And that is another point referees, sometimes miss. The dungeon state should not be locked in amber. Think about it. If the party makes noise, spikes doors, kills sentries, retreats to rest, or spends a long time probing every 10-foot section, the dungeon doesn't politely sit still, waiting for its turn. It should shift. Not wildly, not constantly, but enough that time has consequences. That is what wandering monsters are really doing for you. They are pressure, but they are also the proof that pressure is real. So here's a practical way I'd handle it. Before the session, I'd look at each dungeon level and jot down 3 things. First, who moves around here on purpose? Those are patrols, messengers, scouts, servants, guards, hunting parties. Second, who moves around here because it feeds, scavenges, stalks, or nests? Those are vermin, predators, oozes, fungus creatures, undead drift, essentially opportunists. And third, what roots exist that the players may not fully understand yet? Hidden doors, side loops, rubble gaps, water channels, ceiling passages that were often overlooked by us, old construction shafts, faction routes. Now, when the wandering monster roll hits, I'm not inventing from nothing. I'm choosing from motion that already belongs to this place. And when the encounter appears, I try to answer 3 questions silently in my own head. Where did it likely come from? Where is it likely going? What signs would the party get before it is on top of them? And generally speaking, that is usually enough. I'll give you an example. The party clears a guard room with 4 goblins near the dungeon entrance. Later, deeper in, a wandering encounter comes up. 2 goblins. If I run that A lazily, it feels what? Fake, right? 2 goblins appear from behind you. And that's where players start squinting. But if I run it as a dungeon response, now it works. Maybe the party hears soft voices and boot scruffs in the passage leading back toward the entrance. 2 goblins are coming down with the skin of water and a bundle of torches heading to the guard room. When they see the bodies, now they react. Maybe they run. Maybe they scream for help. Maybe they throw down their supplies and fight. Maybe they retreat to warn the boss. Same die result. Much better fiction. Or take the cleared room behind them problem. The party passed through an old chapel an hour ago. A year ago. I'm losing my mind. They passed through an old chapel an hour ago and left it empty. Later, something comes from that direction. Is that nonsense? Not necessarily. Maybe while they were deeper in the complex, giant rats came up through a broken reliquary drain. Maybe skeletons drifted in from a cracked crypt wall. Maybe kobolds used the chapel as a shortcut because they know the party is ahead and they're trying to cut them off. Maybe a slime followed torch heat and movement through the holes. Maybe another faction moved in to investigate the disturbance. Again, the point is not to write a novel every time. The point is to stop treating cleared as sealed forever. Oh, almost forgot. There's one more thing here. Reaction rolls matter. If every wandering encounter becomes an automatic fight, they feel flatter and more mechanical. But if some are nervous, curious, hungry, cautious, willing to parlay, or just trying to get past, the dungeon starts feeling inhabited by creatures with motives instead of encounter packets. That is especially true when morale kicks in. A patrol that breaks and runs tells the players there is a chain of command somewhere. A scavenger that flees with meat instead of fighting tells you something about its priorities. A pair of kobolds that back up and try to lure the party into an ambush are telling you something about the whole level. So, how do you keep wandering monsters from feeling gamey? 3 things. Give them a reason to be in motion. Give the party signs before contact when you can. And let the dungeon change over time instead of pretending every room stays exactly as keyed after first contact. If you do that, wandering monsters stop feeling like arbitrary interruptions and start feeling like the dungeon breathing around the players. And honestly, that is when the old school procedure starts to shine. Because then the encounter check is not breaking immersion, it is creating it. This is part of a collab series with DM Angelo. His channel is linked below. We do this every Monday. If you enjoy videos like this, smack that subscribe button and join your fellow taverners here at the Tavern. Thank you, and God bless.